today we're looking at some more adverb collocations for advanced students or perhaps intermediate students who want to improve their vocabulary. So we look first at entirely. Completely and totally are very similar to entirely. We can say entirely different, entirely dependent, entirely separate. But if you remember, we also can say entirely unaware, entirely unexpected, yeah, and some of these other words which we used with completely and totally. And completely and totally work with all of these as well. Okay, so they're rather similar. Let's move on to the next one, wildly, not to be confused with widely, which we also looked at in another video. Wildly is when something, some kind of guess or calculation or estimate was made in a wild manner, usually. So you can say wildly inaccurate claims, yeah, wildly inaccurate information. You can say that something is wildly exaggerated. Rumours, maybe. Rumours can be wildly exaggerated. Some kind of behaviour could be wildly inappropriate, which means very, very, very inappropriate. Or some kind of explanation could be wildly unrealistic, meaning that it's probably completely untrue, entirely wrong. Okay, on to the next one, downright, and it's a good one to remember because it's always negative, and it's often associated with immoral, disgraceful or rude behaviour, or perhaps even hostile. Okay, so you can say that he was downright wrong, you can say he was downright dishonest, you can say that the a group of people were downright hostile to you. And you can certainly say that his behaviour was downright rude, it was a downright disgrace, and yeah, or it was downright immoral, unethical, immoral. Okay, on to mildly. Mildly usually works with emotions, soft emotions, so you can say I was mildly surprised, mildly amused, mildly irritated, or you could say that perhaps a film is mildly offensive because of the language which it uses, or perhaps some of the scenes. Okay, loosely works with words about structure, about how something is structured. So you could say that the film is loosely based on the book. Yeah, maybe the film The Hobbit is loosely based on the book. You can also say that something is loosely structured, as opposed to tightly structured. It would be the opposite of tightly structured, loosely structured. You could say that something is loosely connected. In the same way we're still talking about structure, we're talking about things which connect and join, and the same with related. It's a relationship, it's how something is structured. So loosely works with all these words concerning connection and structure. Lastly, we'll look at vaguely. Now, vague is obscure. That's what it means. It means that something is not clear. Okay, it's vague. And so you can say, I have a vague idea, and it means an unclear idea. Not a very clear idea, yeah, just a vague idea. If someone is vaguely familiar to you, they're just a little bit familiar to you. You remember their face from a few years ago, but you know, they're just vaguely familiar to you. You don't know their name or anything about them. You can also be vaguely aware of something, and it just means you kind of know it a little bit. It rings a bell, we say, but you're not sure about it. If you vaguely remember, again, you remember from a long time ago, but you don't clearly remember. You can say that a newspaper article was vaguely worded, and this would mean that it's unclear. Again, that perhaps this was done on purpose. Perhaps they didn't want to make their meaning very clear, and so they used vaguely worded arguments. Okay, and you can also say that something is vaguely threatening. If perhaps there's a subtle undertone in a letter, you could say that the letter is vaguely threatening, that it's making threats against you in a subtle way, in an unclear way, in a vague way. Okay, now if you have any questions about any of this vocabulary, please put it under the video, and yeah, thanks for watching. I hope to see you all soon.